Yo, what is up? Back with another reaction. We are going to be reacting to the Power of Three by Robert. So let's get up into this video. If y'all are new, like, comment, and subscribe. And, keep liking the video, guys. That helps me out. And eventually, that will be helping y'all out too. And if y'all got any videos y'all want me to react to, put it down in the comments below. Let's get into it.
It is a revolutionary thing to go from 2 to 3. In Christianity, there is the Trinity, or the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. You and me and the Spirit between us makes 3. 3 is a powerful shift in perspective. The third eye, the Celtic knot, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, birth, life, and death. Triangle and the traffic light. We have only 2, there will be accidents. 2 is a black and white world, but 3 brings in all the colors. And America is about to make that revolutionary shift from 2 to 3. 2, 3.
Some positive change needs to happen, and it's going to happen.
When was the last time you were into politics? It's like, I haven't experienced that in forever.
There is a rising tide of independent voters sweeping the nation.
Right now, more than any time in history, there are more independents in America than those that claim to be either Democrat or Republican.
It all has to do with allowing this country to create a new cultural identity, and all we have to do is stand together.
Right there.
So to me, American Independent is really about that free thinker.
Being as true to myself as I can be.
Very human.
Hard worker, this is a little man fighting giants.
The warrior spirit rather than a soldier who just takes orders.
It's that person that's an individual, that knows their worth, that knows their values, and really is not afraid to speak those values.
Honest,
true,
fierce warriors.
The American independence senses that we're ready as a country for something new.
Have something different for myself and my kids.
People are ready for change. That their ability to choose their leaders have been so pigeonholed by the spirit of greed.
That's why, things have stayed the same.
Red, blue.
Blue, blue, blue.
Red.
Blue.
Red. Blue. Red, red.
Yellow.
There is this crack in the shell.
The political system is broken.
But what if it's not broken? What if it's working exactly how it was designed to work? One wing or the other of the same bird?
What do you say to voters who are upset that those are the 2 choices? Biden versus Trump.
Get over yourself. Those are the 2 choices.
Even if you like the third-party candidate better, they'll basically just say, but if you vote for them, then the person you don't want's going to get in.
But what's really going on is corporate oligarchy versus the rest of us.
When it's us versus them, it's we the people who get hurt. They use fear and they scare people into thinking that they really don't have a choice, when we do.
The power of 3 breaks the polarization of 2. So yeah, yellow is needed.
For Americans not to feel that they have to vote out of fear, that they feel that they can vote out of hope.
Change can happen.
It's about time.
At this moment, an independent coalition winning election is a non-violent, loudly unifying pathway.
And we can step out of the paradigm that has kept us limited for all these years.
80 years ago, we ended World War II. 80 years before that, Civil War ended in Union. And 80 years before that, the United States became an independent nation. Now, we are in a great turn. And if red and blue are the only colors you have, you can create. Never a sunset, never a forest or the fall leaf. If you are attempting to paint the dawn of a new age, you will need yellow, the third primary color.
cast out a pebble and it creates this ripple, and the ripple is the change that changes the world.
Yeah, power to the people!
Enough of us have a belief that that's possible, that it's happening.
Truth A, you have truth B, and there's the real truth somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, think outside of red and blue. Think yellow.
Sign the petition. Let's get the debate.
Debate is the way you stir the soul of democracy.
You know you all want to see it.
Go to timetodebate.com and sign the petition. Let your independent voice be heard. Thank you.
American Values 2024 is responsible for the contents of this advertisement.
Oh man, so that's it for the video. What do y'all think about that video? Let me know down in the comments. Should we react to another video? Y'all want to? Let's react to this too.
Would you answer one question to help Donald Trump? We're doing a 100% anonymous.
Let me just tell you kind of the lead up, what happened in the lead up of the Ukraine war. The Ukraine war, we were lied to because we're told, oh yeah, this evil Putin trying to take over Europe, and this is his first step to reestablishing the Soviet Empire. And that, it's the same comic
And is that a lie?
Yeah, it's the same comic book description we were given of Saddam Hussein in Iraq, which we were just lied into a war. And yeah, it was a slam dunk that he had weapons of mass destruction. Of course he didn't, and he had nothing to do with terrorism. He was running the most progressive nation in the Mideast. It was a secularized nation. It wasn't a theocracy. He wouldn't let people,
And I will agree that maybe in hindsight that was a mistake. But
all right,
Putin,
then let me tell you what happened. The real story behind what happened in Ukraine. And let me go back to 1992, because 1992 the walls come down, the Berlin Wall comes down.
They said it plenty of times, man. Ukraine is not joining NATO. Come on, if that would be a threat to Russia. That's why Russia is attacking like that too. Russia got like more reasons, but that's like Russia is not allowing that. It's like it's too, like Ukraine is right there by Russia. You want them to join NATO? Come on now, that's insane. And if Donald Trump was in office, not pinning like all hopes on Donald Trump, but just saying if he was in office, that would never happen. Like he said too, his words. He said that would have never happened. He would have never let Ukraine join NATO. He would never did like business like that. Everything would have been balanced. It would have been equal.
And Gorbachev does something very courageous. He goes to Tony Blair and George Bush, and he says, I'm going to allow you to do something that nobody in their right mind would do, which is I'm going to remove 450,000 Russian troops from East Germany, and I'm going to allow you to unify East Germany under NATO, which is a hostile army. But I want one commitment from you. You will never
don't understand what NATO is.
East.
Go look what
James
what
Baker,
NATO is. Basically, you got different countries and all
famously
that shit
said
in NATO.
We will not move NATO 1 inch to the
we
east.
don't know what it is, so y'all know what I'm talking about.
So then, 5 years later, 1997, Zbigniew Brzezinski, who was the first of the neocons, comes along and proposes, let's move NATO to right up to the Russian borders. We're into 15 nations, okay? And at that time, the most important diplomats in American history at that time were George Kennan, who was the architect of the containment policy during the Cold War. He said, if you do that, you're going to force, this is crazy, it's insane. Russia just lost the Cold War. We should be giving them a Marshall Plan and integrating them into the civilized society, the Western society. Don't make them an enemy. Don't treat them like they're still an enemy. This is going to force a violent military response from Russia if you do that. Bill Pierce, who was then the Secretary of Defense, threatened Clinton that he would resign if they went ahead with this plan because it was so reckless. And Bill Pierce is now the head of the CIA. Bill Perry, who was the U.S. ambassador to Russia at the time, said the same thing. Why are you doing this? This is crazy. So between now and then, we moved NATO into 14 countries. Why do we move NATO in? Because when you move them into a new country, they have to sign a contract that conforms all their weapons purchases to NATO specifications, which means you have to buy the weapons from Northrop Grumman, from these big U.S. military contractors who profit from war. So we move it there. In the meantime, we walk away unilaterally from 2 nuclear weapons treaties with Russia. Russia wants those treaties.
Much about NATO,
They're intermediate range
I have to do
missile
my research
systems
all on NATO,
which destabilizes Europe when we remove our agreement not to fire missiles on Russia. And we put Aegis missile systems, which are nuclear capable, in Romania and Poland.
But the broad stroke, listen, you know the details, and these details are, and I'm not taking a side on this, but if there was any, which a lot of people aren't really advocates of, but Trump, if anything, kind of, and whether he was a puppet or not, whatever you believe, he kind of normalized the Russian relationship, kind of, right, by becoming somewhat of a friend of Putin's. So between that time and the time that Putin, there was no NATO movement between the time after the Trump administration.
Yeah, well, what we did is, and we overthrew the government of Ukraine.
So no, he came into Ukraine before.
We overthrew the government in 2014. USAID, which has spent $5 billion, which is a front for the CIA, which everybody acknowledges, went in there and started a revolution it's called the Maidan Rebellion, where there was these protests that ended with the overthrow of the elected government of Ukraine that wanted to keep Ukraine neutral. Yanukovych wanted to keep NATO neutral. We wanted a pro-U.S. government, so we went in there in 2014, overthrew their government, and placed a government. And by the way, a month before the overthrow, we now have tapes that you can go on the internet and listen to. Victoria Nuland, who's the head of the neocons now, the deputy director of the State Department, choosing the new Ukrainian cabinet that will be put in place after the coup that was still a month away. So she knew the coup was coming a month in advance.
But who is she to us?
She's us. She's the head of the State Department. She's now, number 3 in the State Department. But she's been in the State Department. She's one of the, she runs the neocon program, which is, continual wars. So we then pick a new government. The new government comes in, immediately begins attacking the people of Donbass and Lugansk, who are Russian-speaking ethnic Russians. They banned the Russian language, there was 2 languages. There were 2 official languages. Ukraine, they banned that. Violence immediately erupts, and they kill 14. There's a civil war. This war started in 2014. There's 14,000 ethnic Russians are killed. And Putin kept saying, you're killing our people. He's trying to get a peace agreement. They finally work out a peace agreement called the Minsk Accords. Germany signs onto it, France signs onto it, England signs onto it, and Russia sign onto it. Zelensky runs in 2019 as president. He has one platform issue. He's a comedian and an actor, which I'm not.
Is there anything wrong with that?
Oh, my wife is one of those.
Okay, all right.
But he never had any political experience.
Right.
And he wins with 70% of the vote. Why? Because he runs on a peace platform. I'm going to sign the Minsk Accords. As soon as he gets in there, Victoria Nuland and the ultra-nationalists, which is a nice way of describing the people who run that government now, tell him that he can't do it. He can't sign it. So he pivots. And then Putin then says, okay, Putin is now faced with this problem. The United States government is now running the government of Ukraine. And he is frightened to death that the U.S. Navy is going to go into Vladivostok, which is, the southern port. It's been the Russian port. It's the only warm water port Russia has for 347 years. So he then goes right into Ukraine because into Crimea, and takes Crimea without firing a shot. Doesn't kill a single person because the people of Crimea are ethnic Russian and want him back, want him in there. Donbass and Lugansk then votes 90 to 10 to join Russia. Putin says, no, I don't want you. I want Ukraine to be a functioning state. But let's sign the Minsk Accords. And they won't sign it. So then he sends in 40,000 troops. I'm almost done with this. Okay. He sends in 40,000 troops. That is not somebody who wants to conquer Ukraine. It's a nation of 44 million people. All he wanted was us back at the negotiating table. Zelensky, we will not help Zelensky negotiate. So he goes to Israel and gets Naftali Bennett and Erdogan in Turkey to sponsor negotiations, and they go and they work out a peace agreement. And they sign it in April of 2022. Putin is withdrawing his troops according to this peace agreement. Already starts withdrawing them. Biden sends over Tony Blair and tells Zelensky to rip up the peace agreement. Now, how do we know this? Because all of the negotiators are now talking, including Naftali Bennett.
That's
and
crazy,
you can look
man.
it up when you're on the internet. You say you spend a lot of time.
I do.
Look at his
Biden calls, Putin a bad guy, a terrorist, all these mean words, whatever like that. And he calls him that, man.
Where he tells you what happened. The lead Ukrainian negotiator this week came clean and said, yeah, that's what happened. Of course, Russia's been invaded 3 times through Ukraine. The last time.
So is Russia the good guy in your mind?
No, Russia, it was illegal what Russia did. We have to understand they don't want this war. We wanted the war.
So let me.
We always want the war. It always comes down to us, the U.S. Why? Because we are corrupt and we don't even know it. Tell me other words. This system been corrupt for like how long now? Tell me other words, and he would actually change it. He don't give a fuck about all, the secret people or whatever. He don't give a fuck about nobody. He don't give a fuck about BlackRock. He don't give a fuck about that shit. And if y'all don't either, man, drop a like and drop a comment, and we out. Keep liking the videos for sure, man, and keep commenting and keep sharing the videos on anywhere. Send it to a friend or something like that, man. Just keep the grind going, man, and stay tuned to the next video.